Hey guys, Tim on here, and it's mail time. Oh, we're missing a couple. I am excited. I'm like really excited. We are here because this year we are going to be throwing a whole lot of X Zone plastics. I'm beyond excited, guys. I'm beyond excited. I am geeked. Long story short, X Zone liked my post about one cast fishing on my Instagram account. If you actually aren't following me on Instagram and you want to, I don't really keep up with it like I should, but I'll leave that down in the description below. And I reached out to them. I was like, guys, what does it take to fish for you? And they're like, well, give it a shot. And they gave me a pro staff member code and told me to order some baits and let them know what I think. Well, I may have gone a little bit overboard. Just a little bit. But that's okay. Because I'm going to put these all out. I'm going to lay them out in order, in groups of what they are. And we're going to go over them. And we're going to talk about them, how I'm going to use them, and why I've chose to use X Zone. So, we're going to do a little time lapse here of me putting all these baits out in order, and then we're going to explain them all on the colors that we chose. Are you ready? Okay, well that took considerably longer than I expected, but we got it all laid out. It's all here. Now at the time of filming, I know they're dropping a brand new bait in March, but at the time of filming, this is literally like one of everything, not every color, that X Zone makes except for their tubes, because I'm not really a tube fisherman. I know I should be, because on those hard to catch days, a tube is one of the best finesse baits there is. I'll get to that, okay? But right now, we are looking at pretty much X Zone's entire lineup. And I cannot wait to show you guys what we got going on. Okay, so, starting from left to right. The bait that got me started on X Zone, actually, was the Muscleback Craw that I received in a mystery tackle box once upon a time. I can't remember. It was something Craw that they don't seem to make that color anymore, but they do have summer Craw, which is even better. Let's break these out. Let's take a look at them if we can keep them off the floor. Let's break these out and take a look at them, because I got basically, with the exception of a few, I got black and blue, watermelon red flake, and green pumpkin. Those are my go-to colors. I keep it pretty simple. Some of our more finesse baits and some of our swim baits, we went with a larger variety of colors. But guys, look at this. Just look at it. This is some quality plastic. It almost feels stretchy like Z-Man, but not like an Elastec. Like, it doesn't feel elastic to me. And if you don't know, X Zone's plastics, the Craws and the bugs and everything, the pincers, they float. So this is going to sit in the water, and then it's going to take a defensive position, and it's going to be like, eat me. And the bass will be like, bet. So let's check out. I'm going to go through and I'm going to show you all of the various colors we have on each individual bait, but I'm not going to break out every color from every bag from every bait. I'm just going to make sure you see all of the colors I have. This is the watermelon red flake. That is just absolutely gorgeous. So we got the watermelon red flake, black and blue, green pumpkin black flake. For all of my bottom baits, that's more or less the colors I got. I got some June bugs in here too, which is, I was so impressed with this June bug, guys. But we also got the Muscleback Craw in 3.5 inch, or 3.25 inch. And I cannot wait to use these on like my finesse jigs, Texas rig with a small hook, on a Ned head. One Cast and X Zone both make an amazing Texas rig style Ned head. You should definitely check them out. I'll leave links down in the description below. But I got the 3.25 inch versions of everything because my prediction is fishing is going to be hard this year. I think with the crazy weather we've been having and the amount of anglers out on the water every single year going up rapidly, I think we're going to end up a lot like Japan, where finesse fishing is just going to be the name of the game. Matter of fact, I think Bass Fishing HQ just made a video about how finesse fishing is going to be important. And with that in mind, I decided having a finesse version of all of these baits was going to be really important. Now, we're going to go ahead and do the Adrenaline Bug, which is one of their new, or the Adrenaline Bug and Adrenaline Craw. We're two very similar but slightly different baits. And I think I'll show you the black and blue in this one. Look at this. We're going to rip those apart. Yep, get those apart right there. Look at this. Look at that. We got the little appendages here. And right off the bat, my impression is this is meaty. Like, this is really meaty. It's nice and firm, yet malleable. I have a feeling, and I'm going to put it to the test. You'll get my honest opinion. I think this is going to survive more than 1 or 2 fish. It reminds me of a Reaction Innovations Sweet Beaver, except with more detail. It's got the appendages on the side. Now let's hop over here to the Adrenaline Craw, which is another one of their newer baits. Very, very much like the Adrenaline Bug. It has the appendages on the side, right there. Very, very narrow silhouette, much like the Adrenaline Bug, except these have ribbed and long claws. And if you can see right there, that little lip right there on the edge, this is going to catch a lot of water. This is going to really flare as it moves through the water. And then when it comes to a rest, these are going to come up in that defensive position and entice a bite. Now, Tim, whether you're talking about Strike King, Gary Yamamoto, Yum, Zoom, Berkeley, there's so many brands out there that have a very interesting niche detail about their baits. Why X Zone? Well, truth be told, I asked X Zone if I could fish for them, and they said yes. But there was a reason I asked them. I wouldn't just, just randomly reach out to a company. And it's because I liked the X Zone products that I've used, and I don't see a lot of people using them. So, do I want to go out on a lake fishing up against 40 other boats and throw the exact same Zoom Speed Craw that 30 of those boats are throwing? Or do I want to throw the Rage Bug that the other 10 are throwing? Or do I want to throw a quality plastic that no one else is throwing? That's where my mind's at. So we'll see if that logic pays out. Let's see, what am I most excited to show you guys? Stick baits. We're going to do the stick baits next, because I got a lot of them. I got the black and blue, which you guys have seen, in 6-inch, mind you. We got that green pumpkin black flake. And I actually want to show you this green pumpkin black flake. I really, really like this green pumpkin black flake. I'm not a big green pumpkin guy. I'm always going for watermelon red flake. But the fact is green pumpkin is probably one of the best colors. It's the color. Now check this out. I went with the 6-inch, and I'll tell you why in a second. Look at that color. That is it might not come out on the camera, but that is a beautiful green pumpkin and black flake. Why did I go for a 6-inch instead of a 5-inch? Well, Senkos, which hands down so far, because I haven't fished with these yet, are my favorite stick bait. They will catch you fish. They'll catch you a lot of fish. But you're going to have to weed through a lot of fish to get those big fish. My mentality is hopefully some of the bites that I lose throwing the bigger stick bait will be smaller fish. And the bigger fish will feel as though that little effort that they have to put in to get this is worth it. Because the whole reason they're eating a finesse approach is because it's a minimal amount of effort for a high caloric intake. Bass are basically just gym bros, is what it boils down to. Well, I'm trying to throw something that seems like a little bit more of a hassle for those smaller fish, but will get bit by the bigger fish, which is why I went with the 6-inch over the 5-inch. We're going to see if that pays off. Speaking of cool stuff, check this out. Watermelon candy. Oh, I hope you guys can see that. That is so cool. Look at that color. Man, Look at it. That is fantastic. I decided to go with a watermelon candy over a watermelon red flake. Because one, I don't think they have watermelon red flake for this stick bait. But two, I want something with a little bit of flash. I'm going to be throwing this watermelon candy in clear water. And the idea is to draw something in with a little bit of flash that might not otherwise find it worth their while to come get it. Another interesting color that I think will be super useful is Chartreuse Pearl. I'm going to throw this when I'm trying to imitate shad. I will probably be throwing this specific stick bait in open water. If I'm trying to get fish that are suspended and being finicky, and I can't get them on a jerkbait, and I can't get them on a deep diving crankbait, and I can't get them on an underspin, weighted stick bait is what I'll be throwing. And then last but not least, there's a cool detail about these baits that I've been waiting to show you. What's really neat, I think, about this stick bait specifically is what they have. It's called a true center. If you look here, you see that, you know, the same center mark that a lot of baits will have, but right next to it, we have another little coil right here, and that marks the bait's true center, and it's a little bit beefier right there. Ooh, that is a lot like a Senko. Matter of fact, yums are pretty stiff, and I like yums. I'll fish a yum all day long, and I don't have any problem doing it, but if I'm going out and fishing it aggressively or competitively, I'm throwing a Senko. I hope, and I think, the X Zone might pull through for me just as much as the Senko does. We'll just have to wait and see. But this marks your true center. There's no guesswork. You're going to get the optimal amount of action if you rig that right there. Weighted, skirted, or just plain weightless wacky rig will work. And also, you best believe I'm going to be throwing this on a Texas rig. That's my go-to for a Senko. I ain't got time to have to worry about my hook getting hung up on those branches. I'm going to skip that bad boy right in there under those branches, let it fall, and entice a bite. But that's just how I've come to learn to fish these, all of these different, not necessarily X Zone, but these styles of baits in the last couple of years. Let's see, what do I want to show you next? I am just, as you can tell, I'm jazzed. It's late, and I'm wide awake. Let's go ahead and show you my middle of the summer pain in the butt bait. I'm going to start with the color I have never held in my hand before. This is the 11-inch Blitz worm. Look at that. It's got very, very much, the body very much reminds me of a Zoom. Very, very much reminds me of a Zoom, which is fine. It's a worm. They all should look pretty similar. But unlike the Zoom, look at that tail. And like the claws and the pincer. As a matter of fact, I'm going to just leave a link to the channel for X Zone in the description. They have a video for every single bait they have on the market. They put it in a tank, show you how it works, show you how to rig it. X Zone is, they want their customers to be happy with their baits. But when this thing is down there, and it's Texas rig, it's not going to sit on the bottom. It's going to sit with that tail in the water, and it's just going to kind of wiggle around with the current. And I don't care if you're fishing a pond, a lake, a river, the ocean, there's current. Where there's wind and temperature changes in water, there's current. But this color right here is red bug. It is fire. It looks like we got some teal and light blue flake and a red body. I think we got some black flake in there too. It just looks good. Can't wait to drag that around the bottom in the middle of the summer. Heck, I'm gonna probably throw it this weekend. Toss that bad girl in there. So I got the red bug, which is the only unique color I got for this. Black and blue, of course, which you've seen. Green pumpkin, which you've seen. Watermelon candy, as you've seen. And then June bug. Now, I am picky about my June bug. I like a June bug that could almost be confused for a black and blue. However, this is a lighter June bug, but boy, does it look enticing. It's almost, I'd almost call this Kool-Aid. Grape Kool-Aid is almost what I'd call this color. Let's get this on the paper and show you guys. Look at that. You can see through that tail, and then the head. There's enough flake in there that's going to give you a solid profile. I think this June bug, when every fish in the lake has seen a black and blue worm a million times, just a slight change up, I think that June bug is gonna get it done. But we're just gonna have to wait and see. This is all a lot of stuff I've given thought over the winter. I took a week and a half to figure out what baits I wanted. Now, they have this, don't get me wrong, this is not every color they have. Matter of fact, just for fun, I went through and I added one of every color they had for every single bait. It was a lot of money. So I had to pick and choose which ones I wanted, because believe it or not, I invest a lot of money into my fishing gear, but I'm not made of infinite amounts of money, much like everyone else who watches my stuff. Okay, let's see what I'm going to show you next. Trick worms. You know, up until late last year, and I'm talking like November, December, I had never thrown a trick worm. Not on a shaky head, not Texas rig, not weightless. I'd never thrown a trick worm. And then my buddy Eric got me hooked on trick worms, and that's what really got me confident over on the Refuge Center pond where I nailed my PB for last year. Already beat it. Sorry, something stuck in my throat there. So these trick worms, I went with the June bug because I couldn't find black and blue, and I didn't want just plain black. But June bug will definitely get it done. Green pumpkin black flake. Watermelon red flake. And then this is the one I'm going to show you because this is a unique color to X Zone. They have a lot of unique colors to X Zone. Look at that. This is called Bass Candy. We've got like a purple laminate on the bottom, just a very light purple. And then we got watermelon candy on top. Definitely looks like Bass Candy to me. So this is their regular deception worm, and they make an MB fat deception worm. My idea is, I wanted to do the fat worm, but here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking if I'm at the point where I have to use a trick worm, I'm already at the point where finesse is the name of the game. And if I'm going to start throwing a finesse bait, I'm throwing the finesse bait. And just like every other plastic they have, that tail is going to float. Matter of fact, I don't know if I'm going to be able to show you exactly, but if you can get in on that, that tail is pocketed. There's 2 teardrop shaped pockets on this tail that will catch water. So when that's sticking up in the water column like that, it is going to catch water. It's going to float around and just kind of like this. It's going to look like a newt or a snake or a worm or some odd bait fish that's trying to feed, and it's going to get bit. So those are the trick worms. The deception worm is what they call it. Their stick bait, by the way, I didn't tell you exactly what it was called. It's called the True Center Stick. I think it's always important that we find our true center, which is easy with the Lord, by the way. Ooh, I'm running out of baits, guys. We're getting through these fast. I think I'm going to show you my favorite, and I already regret not ordering more of these because last weekend I saw the light on a certain color for Ned rigs. You're just going to have to stay tuned and get subscribed if you want to see that video, and you want to see that video. This is the Ned Zone, the 3-inch Ned Zone. And this one is Summer Craw, which is a color you guys haven't seen yet, and I plan to order all of these baits in. It is a Chartreuse black flake bottom and a green pumpkin black flake top. And what I like about this Ned Zone is just like every other Ned, well, not every Ned, every 3-inch TRD, except it's got that bulbous top right there, which is going to move around like so in the water column. Pair this with an X Zone or a 1-cast weedless Ned head, you could toss this thing anywhere. People think you got to throw the Ned rig on an open bottom, and you don't. You get that Texas rig from X Zone or 1-cast, pitch that bad girl right into wood, let it fall, pop it over the top, bring it over, let it fall, and let it sit. Just let it sit. It's gonna get picked up. A bass saw that fall, and if it doesn't get bit in the first 20-30 seconds, and yes, leave it for 20-30 seconds, just boop, boop, and then reel it ever so slowly and stop, and you're gonna get a fish. Might not always be the biggest fish, but it might be a 6-pound 8-ounce bass. So, summer craw. I'm very excited to use that in dingy water. And black. Just plain black. That's right. For a Ned rig, I don't mind just going plain black. It's a very subtle bait. That blue flake, it might, black and blue flake, it might help. But honestly, if I'm throwing a black Ned rig, I just need it to make a profile. I need it to be noticed in some dirty water. And I mean dirty water, like chocolate milk water. Which, throwing finesse in chocolate milk water is not where you want to be. You need to be throwing darts. But there are days when that's what's required. And I think that 3-inch Ned Zone is going to come in clutch for me. And my by far, hands down, favorite color for all things Ned rig, and it might be tied with PB&J, which I thought I ordered, but I guess not. Gonna have to definitely go order some of those. That's right, watermelon red black flake. Look at it. Yes, that's just a classic watermelon red and black flake. It is just perfect. And it's a meaty body here, so you really can. It's got a line to help you keep the hook centered, whether you're doing an exposed or Texas rig, and you can weed it through because it's not the Elastec. You don't have to worry about it reacting with all your other plastics. You don't have to worry about it drying out. Well, I mean, all plastics dry out, but Elastec, it has its perks and it has its drawbacks. I'll just leave it at that. You just pop that bad boy on there, let her rip, tater chip. And this might actually sound like I'm really just trying to plug X Zone. I guess I am, because they did me a solid. I'm going to do them a solid. But really, I'm just trying to tell you how I put myself in my comfort zone, my confidence zone when I'm fishing. Because above all, you need to be confident when you fish. If you're not confident while you're fishing, you're not really going to catch fish. There are days when you go out and you lock a lure that you're not comfortable with in your hand to gain that confidence. But if you're fishing against someone, or even just to make sure you get that video, confidence is going to be key, and that's really the message that I'm trying to portray. Now, speaking of confidence, the next two baits I'm going to show you are out of my confidence zone, but they're baits that I feel like as a bass angler who wants to take his game to the next level, they're baits I need to master. So, and that is the fluke, you know, or a soft-bodied jerkbait, as they are commonly referred to. And they call theirs the Whiplash Shad, and I cannot wait to get these out of the box and see what I think about them. I'm going to start with the color. I mean, we've all seen pearl, right? It's pearl. We know what white looks like. But there are two here, baby bass, and this is a great interpretation of baby bass, and electric shad that I think are knockout. Oh man, that's good. I think, honestly, I wouldn't mind throwing this on the back of one of One Cast's bladed jigs. This would probably do really good. Check this out. It's electric shad. It's a pearl base with smoke and gray. And we've got bright blue and black. I think this color is probably the color I'm going to try the hardest to get good at, just because I like it. But if not, there's always pearl. And there is always baby bass. I cannot wait to show you this baby bass. Now, in muddy water, you would probably throw a chartreuse and pearl mix, but I wanted to opt. I feel like if I'm throwing it in muddy water, I'm probably not going to be throwing a fluke anyway, just because I'm not confident in a fluke yet. However, I feel like this baby bass would create enough of a profile that I wouldn't have any trouble getting bit. And just so you can see that, that's a pearl base with a nice green pumpkin watermelon-ish color on top with gold flake and black flake, and it just comes together perfectly. And I keep cheesing out over the texture of these plastics. I think I've really made the right decision by choosing to fish with X Zone this year. We're just going to have to wait and see. Worked out for Polnick. So flukes. I'm going to be throwing flukes. Throwing them into grass flats, ripping them through open water, pitching them into wood. Fluke is a bait that is going to be a confidence bait for me by the end of the year. Or, well, maybe not, but not for lack of trying. Alright guys, and I think we're going to do these next. And this is a bait design I haven't seen on any other bait company, And these are the 4-inch Pro Swammers. And not swimmer, swammer. Right off the top, I mean, you could fish these on a Ned rig. You could use these as a chatterbait trailer. But right off the dome, this bait strikes me as a drop shot bait. Which, as I said, if I'm right, and this is every year is going to be more and more progressively about finesse fishing, I think drop shot's a bait that we're going to all have to master. But it almost looks like a leech. It's got that bulbous tail. It floats, so you don't have to worry about it dripping in the water column. You can fish it on a Ned rig head. I mean, I guess you could Texas rig it. No, you can't. I mean, you probably could if you had a small enough hook, but I wouldn't Texas rig this. Drop shot or Ned rig is the ways that I would fish this. I probably wouldn't even use it as a trailer unless it was on like a finesse jig or something. But this is that bass candy. I think this is an excellent example of that bass candy. You've got that beautiful watermelon candy on top. You got that purple laminate on the bottom. I think this is going to be straight fire. This isn't a bait I can tell you a lot about. I know this is a bait that X Zone really likes. I think Polnick is the one, Brandon Polnick is the one who really mastered this bait first, so I'm going to be watching a lot of his videos. I recommend you do too if this bait strikes your interest. But this is a bait that I think if I'm going to get good with the drop shot, this is going to be in my comfort zone enough. It's not too tiny, I don't have to worry about that, but it is finessey enough that I probably will get bit on the drop shot and have the confidence to continue learning on a drop shot. Of course, that bass candy. And then I went with Minnow Magic, which is another color I haven't shown you guys yet, but I like it. I like it a lot. It reminds me almost like the Crystal Shad from Kitech, but with more purple flake than anything else. It's got that black and gold flake in there. We're going to get this over there on the table and show you. But it's got that black and gold and purple flake in there. And it's got just this like white teal laminate bottom with a gray top. Tell me that that does not just strike you as a minnow or some kind of tiny little bait fish. Almost, honestly, it almost looks like a yearling bluegill, if not for the body shape, because their colors are so vibrant. They've got bright blues, bright purples, bright golds, and greens in them. I don't see a whole lot of green in this, but I think we could fool a bass. Let's get over here on the table and take a really good look at it. That blue pearl laminate I was talking about on the bottom. Flip that bad girl over. And that flake just really comes through. Bright sunny days, when those fish don't want to do anything, pitch that drop shot in there with a non-exposed hook and just wait. Another color that I've had before but haven't used a whole lot in other baits is green pumpkin blue flake. Now I don't know what my reasoning was. I don't remember, but I had a reason. I went green pumpkin blue flake for my drop shot. And I think it's because I wanted it to just kind of stand out a little bit while I'm fishing a drop shot, because it's not going to be a lot of action. It needs to draw the eye. And I'm loving it. This green pumpkin, I love their green pumpkin. It makes me actually want to throw a green pumpkin. And then that blue flake in there. And you can see it all the way to the core of the bait. I think this is going to be dark enough that I can get a profile in like medium visibility water, and that blue flake will really help pop it off. There you go. Perfect. Let's get that on the... Yeah. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. How do you feel about a green pumpkin blue flake versus a green pumpkin black flake? And where would you use it? I would like to know, genuinely. Unless you're fishing against me, and then I suppose you don't have to tell me. Would be cool if you did, though. We're almost done, I promise. Alright, and that's it. This is the bass candy I showed you guys. Last but not least... Oh, this is the Slammer. S-L-A-M-M-E-R, not Swammer. Silly me. And this is... the 4-inch Swammer. I love swim baits. I just don't use them quite enough, and I want to change that. I want to start using them on underspins, standalone, A-rigs, chatterbait trailers, spinnerbait trailers, buzzbait trailers. I really think swim baits, it's something I need to utilize more. And in order to do that, I got every color I could possibly want. This right here is the Sexy Shad. I think we all know what a Sexy Shad looks like by now. Just in case you don't, you've got gold and black flake here on the bottom. Actually, that is just gold flake. Gold flake with a pearl laminate core and almost a greenish hue right there in the middle. And then blue pearl laminate on top. That right there, Sexy Shad, is probably my favorite color for a crankbait that isn't red craw. It's funny, I have a nice collection of crankbaits and I think I only throw like the 3 colors tops. But Sexy Shad is the color that I felt like I needed to have. And in that same vein, I wanted something just a little bit more black and blue-ish. So I also got Electric Shad. Which is very, very similar. It's got a similar belly, but instead of having that light blue, it's got just a gray and a pearl layer to it with light blue and black flake in it. This is a beautiful, beautiful color. These swim baits are jointed, so they're going to have a lot of action in the water. You could throw this behind a chatterbait. I've seen videos of it. It's not going to interfere with the blade. It's not going to interfere with the action of the bait. That is super important because some paddle tails will either interrupt the action of the blade or will lose their action based on the kind of bait they are and the kind of action your blade is imparting. And I feel like these combined with my one cast bladed jigs, which are very heavy and hunting action, like they thump in the water. I don't think we're gonna have any trouble with that. But this color right here, I think this is probably gonna be my go-to for a lot of situations where I'm trying to imitate shad. Like it's just the color of our shad. This is gonna match it perfectly with either a white or a green pumpkin shad color skirt. Hopefully we can get that through. And that's true for chatterbaits or swim baits, or spinnerbaits I mean. We got pearl, obviously. I think if you're trying to imitate shad, a white skirt, pearl bait, simple as that. It's going to get bit a lot of time. And I know a lot of the southern guys, they just like a white and chartreuse or just a white chatterbait and get her done. Same thing with a spinnerbait. I had that in mind when I ordered this pearl. Or they call it Snow White. And then we have Chartreuse Pearl. Pull one of these out of here for you. Oh, I like that. It's got that bright chartreuse top, but a very distinct pearl bottom. Pair that with one of my chartreuse and white bladed jigs, or swim jig, or even an arky head jig. I think we're going to get it done. This is a color I'm actually really excited to try, considering that a lot of the ponds and strip mines that I fish have a huge, and I mean huge, amount of warmouth and green sunfish. To the point that the first fish I caught on a bullgill, a Mike Buka bullgill, was like an 11-inch green sunfish. Warmouth. We got our chartreuse belly, and we got green pumpkin and blue flake top. Tell me that doesn't look sick. That actually might be my favorite color of the bunch. I think this is just going to get it done on a green pumpkin or maybe even a black and blue. Bladed jig, swim jig, arky head jig, green pump or football headed jig by one cast. And then we have black. I got black for use with black and blue if I'm just doing dirt colored water, or at night, or where I'm trying to contrast like a red skirt, which we got coming up soon. We haven't hit our pre-spawn yet, but we're getting there. And I don't like to throw red on red. I like to throw red on black or red on green pumpkin. But you do need that red in there to really make those bass angry. I needed a black swim bait. X Zone delivered. Which one is it? Oh, bluegill. Speaking of aggressive sunfish that are taking over my waterways, this is their take on a bluegill color. And this looks even better than it did in the picture. This is this worthy going over to the table. We got ourselves like this really opaque green pumpkin. It's almost like a chartreuse and green pumpkin mix on the bottom. Very light brown and green. I like it. To a much more traditional green pumpkin top, but it's got a lot of purple flake in there. That really sets it off. Let's get this over here on the table. There's that like mix of chartreuse and brown and green pumpkin I was talking about right there on the bottom. And then that green pumpkin and purple flake right there on the top is looking mighty fine. I think that, ooh. I actually might have a hard time deciding that when I'm fishing ponds or strip mines, if I'm going to like that warmouth or that bluegill more. I think, sorry guys, I think I might actually just have to let the fish decide for me. Or you. Let me know down in the comments, guys. Green pumpkin, black flake. You know, the standard green pumpkin. Hard to go wrong with that. Ooh, I forgot about this one. And this is Sexy Shad. Yes. Did I get 2 Sexy Shads? No, I already showed you Sexy Shad. Sorry, it's late. And that's it, guys. That is everything I ordered. That is literally one of every kind of bait they make. Not all the sizes of the slammer or the swammer. Keep in mind. I went with just a plain 4-inch for the swim bait swammer, and a 4-inch for the drop shot, so that I didn't have to make my finesse 2 finesse. But they make a 3.25-inch of the slammer, and they make a 3.5-inch, a 4-inch, and a 5.5-inch of the swammer. And if I get more confident in these swim baits and the different ways I can use them, you best believe, as well as the drop shot, I'll be investing in more colors and more sizes of those 2 baits, and I'll order some of the MB Fat deception worms and what other baits I don't have and colors I don't have. But if you want me to do that, if you want to see those colors, if you want to see these baits explained, if you want to see a video on any of these specific baits, go down in the comments, let me know. I'm trying to move a lot into tutorials this year and explanations on things I feel confident trying to educate other people on. And if you want to see more content like this, more fishing videos, I beat the bank. I fish in my kayak. I'm doing a couple of tournaments this year. Get subscribed. Join the family. Tim Hunt Fishing Family is the best one on YouTube, and everyone's welcome in the family. But that's all I got for you guys. I'm going to pack up these baits. I'm going to get home. I'm going to get ready for this weekend. I haven't told you exactly what that is yet, and I'm going to get some sleep. But in the meantime, guys, I need you to remember, stay safe, stay happy, stay healthy. God bless you. Keep on fishing, and we'll see you in the next one.